The Stack. People, Business, Technology. With Dan Tomaszewski of Everything MSP.
Hello, everybody. Dan Tomaszewski here. Hope you're having an awesome day. Very excited for today's discussion, this week's episode of The Stack, where we focus on people, business, and technology. Today, we're going to have a conversation around starting and growing in marketing, building a strong foundation, and elevating your skills, breaking into marketing. And we've got Pete Busam with Equilibrium Consulting joining us. Then we got Pete right there. How you doing today, Pete?
I'm doing well, Dan. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. And, we are here to talk about that topic that is both, near and dear to us on the marketing side. And, it's an important topic for MSPs because, essentially, marketing is what helps drive sales and, sales moves into operations. And, it's just a critical need for all MSPs, right?
Yep. And finding the right people to do it, whether it's in-house or out, is always a challenge, right? It's keeping them and growing them just like a technician.
Yeah. And I think this is an area where, we have to be brutally honest with ourselves, and we need to determine, okay, marketing, we must have a solid strategy when it comes to marketing. And, we can't just dabble in it, and we need to determine, is it in our wheelhouse? Should we be doing it ourselves? Should we be outsourcing it, or a hybrid approach? And we just need to be brutally honest with ourselves and say, I'm not doing it the way it should be done. And I just need to say enough's enough, because if I don't accept that, then I'm not going to, nothing's going to change. And we're going to sit in, the situation that we're in right now. We're not going to grow and scale our business unless we, embrace it.
Nope. People look at it and they try and take somebody and move them sideways in the organization, an admin that might be a little creative or good on social, but that's not really marketing, right? You and I both know that you've got to do way, way more than just a social media or an occasional blog post or things
Right.
of that nature. And it takes it can take more than a single skill set based on the maturity of your organization as to how active your marketing strategy and approach is going to be.
Right. And it's certainly not, I think the keyword is strategy. It's not a throw something out there and, pray that it's going to work. You need to be consistent with it. And so, with that being said, let's, I guess, jump into the first area, breaking into marketing. For somebody that's completely new to marketing, how can they identify their strengths and align them for, potential marketing roles?
Yeah. So think about like an MSP, you have a level 1 through level 3 tech, right? And each one has a different skill set, whether it's an accelerated skill set or a specialization vertical, maybe on certain devices or firewalls or SaaS products, right? So you have to look at what's the skill set that you have in that person. If you're that person, you need to go look at, am I good at content creation? Am I a good graphic artist? Am I good at taking some of these and do it? Or am I the jack of all trades, master of none, right? Like many of us that started our businesses, right?
Yeah.
So you have to look at, what are those key skills that you have when you're starting out? And you have to say, am I a level 1 or am I a level 3, right? Am I an engineer or am I still a technician? And then you have to say, okay, what can I do in my strategy with this skill set? And if the skill set isn't enough, how do I augment it, right? But for those that are getting started, once they recognize what they're doing or where their strength is, right? don't do professional development necessarily always on your strength. Look at some of the areas that you need to round out your capability. And, HubSpot's got some great training. Google's got skill shops that are out there. And there's a variety of others that provide marketing training or webinars or whatever on like social platforms like Social Pilot will do things on social media, So getting all of those things and making sure that you're doing professional development is a great way to break in and start building your resume around, what kind of training. And of course, HubSpot Academy, you get little certifications, so that doesn't hurt your resume at all when you're trying to get a job or break into marketing with a company.
Right. Yeah. And I mean,
Recognize.
yeah, no, and I think essentially what you're saying, totally makes sense because, we I think naturally we automatically put the necessary time into developing our technical skills. Why should it be any different for other areas, other business functions like marketing? I mean, it shouldn't be any
Right.
different. If we don't dedicate it the time, if we don't educate ourselves, then we don't grow, we don't become better, and I mean, essentially, we're complacent from that perspective.
Exactly. We just stay who we are, and that just means we're happy to be where we're at. And eventually, that doesn't get you moving through life or growing into the areas where you want to grow
Yeah.
on it. So,
I mean, what would you say are the most important skills for a beginner in marketing to focus on developing?
well, I really think you know basic analytics and um, the ability to translate and understand what people are doing and communicate it back into something that um, you know other people can see and it's plain as day. Technical and technical owners are not very good at always conveying a simplistic view of a software or cybersecurity or compliance. They stick with buzzwords, and a lot of times the end users don't understand those things. So build your vocabulary and soft skill to be able to communicate them from what you know the market that you're going to work in, the MSP space, and be able to translate that down to something that the prospective client might be attracted to because it's um, simply's language. It's just put out there and very basic for everybody to understand,
Yeah.
so they don't have to be a scholar to or start googling words or acronyms to figure out
Right.
what you're talking about. Which technical owners that do marketing or sales have a tendency to do. Stop speaking geek and speak business and speak at ease. So,
Yeah, and I think we need to get over the whole I hate to use the word ego from that perspective, but when it's easy to throw out big terms that we understand, maybe to elevate ourselves, as far as hey, we know this stuff, and we know what we're talking about, but we do need to break it down into a way that respectfully brings it down to the level of our audience. And
mhm.
clearly, if you're doing if you're focused on internal IT, you're going to have a different conversation with internal IT staff than you are going to with maybe the CEO of an of a small business,
Right,
that they don't
right.
have
Know
any
your
technical
audience, right?
skills. Yeah, yeah. Read the
Know your
room.
audience. Yeah,
Know your audience.
yeah.
Yeah.
So most definitely. But there's things you can do also that elevate you to show, and I think a lot of that too is that you've got to show. One of the things that you can do to enhance it is find somebody that's a mentor and
Right.
learn from them, and set yourself up in an area that you've got some basic tools that you can play and learn, whether they're AI tools or graphic tools. there's plenty of them out there now that give you the ability to sharpen your skills, while you're learning. And if you're hungry, I always say, every certification that you get and everything that you develop becomes part of you and moves with you. It doesn't stay with the company. That knowledge stays
Right.
with you. So the more you work on yourself and you hone your skill set and your trade, the better off you are for yourself and your prospective or your current employer. Right.
Yeah.
So, and marketing's the same way. You've just got to do it.
So
I'm at it for a long time, and I'm still networking with professionals in the marketing industry, and
right.
in American marketing, and cybersecurity marketing, and different trade associations that give me some input and fresh perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, essentially at the end of the day, if we just like in the technology skills, I mean, if you don't advance yourself, um it will be very apparent that you're stuck in the 80s and the 90s. Same thing with marketing. I mean, you're not going to capture anybody's attention if you're sharing knowledge about yellow page advertising. you know um
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
you got to stay up with the times. And I want to shift gears a little bit, and talking a little bit about setting yourself apart as a beginner. How important is it in building a personal brand for aspiring marketers? I mean, because each of us are our own brand, and it's critical that we understand that. But in addition, how important is it? What are some effective ways to do this, especially on platforms like LinkedIn, for example?
sure. So LinkedIn, it really gives you a lot of business to business type interface of who's out there who could see something. So you can write articles and showcase your content. In that
Yeah,
content, you can draft you know, graphics in there. So it gives you an opportunity to almost build somewhat of a portfolio of different things inside of an article or inside of a post to do that. And it allows people to see what you're about and your styles and things of that nature to say, okay, I interview this person, but now I want to see what they really have. They can go to your social profile on LinkedIn or your LinkedIn profile, and they can see some of the work that you've had in real time and maybe how it's changed or gotten better over time because you start out in one area and you continually learn and grow. So you write an article 3 years ago, your style is going to change and adapt, hopefully, along the way to current scenarios and situations and things that might be relevant in today's world. So
yeah,
that's one way. Um, I tell a lot of people. I mentioned mentorship. Find somebody that's connected and try and tag along a little bit. Let them take you under the wing, but get out and into networking things. I would say I say the word GTIA now. The new nonprofit side of what used to be CompTIA, right?
yeah,
It's the spin-off now, GTIA. But there are so many professionals in there, both technically, management, and marketing. You'd be surprised at how many marketing professionals sit in um, the conventions. And so, going to those trade events, if you have the opportunity, are wonderful things. And then look for the ones that are online too that you could attend virtually, and ask a boss if they would cover it, or find a way to cover it because they're just unbelievable when you start networking. LinkedIn helps you network and broaden your horizons. So when a position becomes available, people think of you, they look you up, or if you're in a professional, an industry association or something, that gives people the other part. And then the
yeah,
last part is, I mean, the portfolio. Um, if I'm looking for a graphic digital artist and you're a freelance, charcoal artist, we don't have a fit, right? Looking at your portfolio right away doesn't mean that you're a bad person, doesn't mean that you're not a hard worker. It just means that your portfolio doesn't show me what translates into what I'm looking for. So build an online portfolio and round it out. Show a little web work, show a little graphic artwork, write some content, show a little bit of what you might do in social, maybe packaging. You know, if you're working in product marketing, packaging is important. So, there's all these different things. And, other things you can do is volunteer. Build your resume through volunteering. There's a
Right.
lot of nonprofits out there that need some help, and they don't they don't mind getting some free services, and it's great for your resume and building your resume. So,
You know, you talk about the resources that are online and mentorships and so on, and I might be dating myself a little bit here, but I remember my very early days of growing my tech skills. I would religiously look at every PC warehouse and Mac warehouse catalog. Remember those catalogs that we would get in the mail all
yeah,
the time?
yeah,
And I would look at those all the time and look at, you basically are learning about the different products that are out there, whether it was zip drives or SideQuest drives and all that jazz and or jazz drives, no,
yep,
wasn't maybe to be funny there, but you know, um, you look at that and you start learning and and people start saying, how do you know about that? I mean, I was literally looking at a catalog and seeing from month to month, from catalog to catalog, the new products that were coming out and the changes. And number one, take a look at other marketing that's out there. I mean, we live
yeah,
in the information world. We just, open up our laptop, look at our phone, and we can take a look at other marketing that's out there and say, can I apply this to my business? And,
mhm.
and how could this work for me? There's really no excuse for us to not learn. I mean, it comes down to whether we do it or not, because it's the information's out there. It comes down to us saying, I'm committed to improving my skills and moving forward and learning.
Yeah, and I think professional development. I always kidded around. I would come home and I would have a stack of magazines, and I would say, Tuesday and Thursdays are my night after the kids would go to sleep, and I would read the tech magazines.
Yeah.
And Monday and Wednesday, I would read my car magazines. And then, on the weekends, I was busy. So, but I was always learning something of the trade, whether it was a technical component or tools that were being used or what have you. And, I encourage everybody on my team at every level to attend webinars and seminars and everything. We have one gentleman on our team that's come in, and I keep saying, you've got to learn the acronyms. The only way you're going to do it is being around things. So, we'll
Right.
take you to a trade event, but the best thing you can do is pick up a magazine or read or get into a webinar and just listen. You know,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, but I have all this work to go. I said, that's fine. I will give you the hour to get on that
Right.
webinar. It's
Yeah.
better that you get on that webinar than us trying to explain everything to you every time, right? So,
Yep.
initiative of that person, and I think some of that's generational, of you know how we go about what we do these days and who's going to do it for us. But again, I go back to what I said earlier: is the skills that you own are your skills. They go with you wherever you are. So the more learning that you can do, the more certifications that you can do, it only benefits you. You take it where it was like in the olden days when I ran my MSP, Dan, I'm going to pay for your MCP or MCSE. And I couldn't get my engineers to do it because they didn't want to study on their own time.
Right.
Like, if I was going to say, I'll give you 2 hours of non-billable time, and then they would tell me, no, I don't want the non-billable time because that will lead into what my billable um, utilization rate is and affect my bonus, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough from an employer perspective, but as a person, you have to own it. You have to own your career. You have to own your knowledge.
Well, it's no different than, I mean, we've had these conversations, and you've written about this recently about getting into the gym. I mean, you know, we've had these conversations recently, as far as me in my health, I need to start working out. I literally in our lower level have a treadmill and a bike. I don't have to leave the house to go to the gym. I could literally go downstairs and start today, but it's the mindset. It's carving the time out, and it comes down more to commitment than lacking anything else. And kind of taken to the next level. A lot of marketers start with more execution focused roles. How can they
Mhm.
transition into more strategic roles? And what does it take to develop a data driven mindset?
Yeah. So, first thing is, a lot of people say marketing, what's a data driven have to do with marketing? It's the
Right.
analytics side, right? It goes away from all the creativity and content writing. It's the engagement side. It's understanding what's working, what's driving engagement, what's creating an opportunity for a salesperson to have that conversation to take it to the next level, right? As an opportunity. But that's all driven. So everything you do can be measured, right? And unfortunately, we can develop KPIs that are non-meaningful and ones that are meaningful. But how can you develop that mindset? You start by doing things like looking at engagement of social media. How many people are following versus what's the engagement percentage versus your competitors? How are your
Right.
competitors doing and how are you stacking up? And start in little things like that. Google Analytics. How many website visitors do I have this month? How did I do? Did I grow the number of visitors, right? And as you go along, you can start digging deeper into each layer of the analytics. But that data driven set should have a result that gives you strategy of we ran something on XYZ and it did garbage. But we ran something on QRS and man, QRS jumped off. Why? Let's look at the data
Right.
behind the scene. Let's look at that. Now, what's the difference between the two? What does that data set look like? And let's go do more of QRS with these elements that we found or where we improved, right? And as we build our next campaign around that, that data pushes us to do it. So take the tools that you have, and there's plenty of them out there. They don't really cost anything to do it. On LinkedIn, you can look at your own analytics. You can look at your company page analytics. Google will look at that. Um, Emails, open rates, click rates, understanding open and click rates. Something as simple as a newsletter. How many articles did somebody open up, or did they go and did they visit your website? Could you track them all the way through? A lot of the tool sets allow you to do that. So use the analytics to see and help drive the content and the creative side of your business so you can deliver more back to your organization from a sales perspective, because ultimately that's what marketing's about, right? Is driving some kind of qualified lead that sales can attach to. So,
And that data you talk about, it really is amazing once do a deep dive into it. When you take a look at, hey, we've sent out 576 emails. When you take a look like individual by individual, 576 emails. This person has opened 550 of them. Versus 576 emails. This person has opened two of them. That's interesting data. Or those that are opening it, are they clicking on certain things within it? They're going, they're clicking on, like if it's a newsletter, and they're clicking on a certain area, maybe you have some marketing in there about, business continuity in the newsletter. And so, that, that's captured their attention. So something in the newsletter about business continuity is captured their attention. They've clicked on it. They've gone to your site and they're reading the information on your site. So what happens next, right? Is nothing happening? Are you not doing any kind of follow-up in regards to that? Or are you doing something by then sending out some other type of messaging in regards to that? That data allows us to determine what the next step is. So it's almost as if, let's say you're a salesperson, in a let's say an appliance store, and you see somebody looking at refrigerators, and then all of a sudden, they're looking at certain type of refrigerators. Well, that salesperson that there can visibly see what they're looking at, what their interests are, and then you can address that. But with our marketing, we can do the same thing by deep diving into those analytics, and then doing similar things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you bring up an interesting point too, is we start out with like an email and a list, and the list might be 2,000, right? Are 2,000 all people that are going to engage? No. But
Right.
doing the analytics on those that are engaging can bring them into a different subset and maybe a different type of email based on what their engagement types are, what they've been clicking on, where they've been going, and boil that down into a much finer subset of prospects that maybe you're doing. There might be giveaways or something else that you do that makes them a little bit more higher value, to bring them through and get them a touch point to, again, get them to that salesperson where there's an opportunity to be discussed and
Yeah.
a relationship built, right? So it's not just necessarily numbers. There's other things you have to look at, like your lists, right? You start out with that big list, but no salesperson can deal with 1,000 people on the list. They've got to get down to probably no more than 250 max,
Right.
and work that list differently with you in marketing, right? So you continue to trickle with them based on their engagement type or style, and then move into something that's more targeted to what they've engaged with, because that drives higher engagement. Higher engagement builds trust, and trust then starts the relationship. So,
Right.
so that data really strategically can boil down, and it's a visual thing from your side, but it's the same analogy of the same path of looking at that specific style of refrigerator, whether it's a single door or side by side.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they're engaging with your side by side. You're looking at the data, and the data is telling you to go to the side by side. Put them in that subset of people to go to the side by side, and then work
Right.
different content to go that way. But that's the data. That's the data side of it. You've got to
Yeah.
look at that. And I got to tell you, that's something that a lot of marketing people don't understand. They don't understand. I think I wrote an article. I just wrote an article on have the hard conversation. Why marketers fail. It's okay to fail. It's what you do with it, that goes on.
Right.
You're going to have some things that are going to work, and there's going to be other things that you scratch your head and you put a lot of time and money, and they stink. They don't work, right? So
Yeah.
so learn from them. Again, the data tells you what you did good, what parts of those things did good, and take those and extract them out and put them into something new, and make sure that that step gets repeated, because that was the one that was winning in that last engagement or campaign.
Yeah.
So,
And at the end of the day, I keep thinking about the phrase that I've learned, early in my career, that if it were easy, then everybody be doing it. And, not every marketing campaign is going to be a home run. But like you said, you will fail. And as long as you fail fast, and you identify, okay, what fell apart with this, where did, maybe where did we miss, in this particular campaign, and you address it, and address it quickly.
yeah.
And you move on. I mean, you don't give up. You continue to, keep plugging away, and you just adjust. And as you fine tune, you will see where things are working better, and then you continue to improve. And so, on that note, none of us are going to be, it's impossible for us to know everything, especially as MSPs. There are many hats that are being worn. And sometimes that, we have to identify where our strengths and weaknesses are and where we seek outside help. Equilibrium provides marketing services that can help an MSP, with marketing. Can you give an overview for our audience as far as what Equilibrium can do and assist them in the process of marketing?
Yeah. So first of all, we have a lot of education in our blogs on our website and up on LinkedIn, both personally on my LinkedIn and on our company page. So I encourage everybody go and kind of peruse, because there's just a lot of good educational content up there that we've written and put up over time. Our goal is to help everybody at every level of their cycle. So for owner led that really don't have the resources but have a couple bucks and know that they need to get started, we've got we've got a website called Market Vault, MarkitVault.com. And that's where you can go into a store and you can buy some core packages and social media and blogs for your website. We make other things available there, even our full stack of service to get you as you grow up. Or out at equilibriumconsult.com, you can see what's in our full stack done for you market. So there's great ways for you to get started and look big. We believe that the small guys should have the same look and feel as the big guys with it. So everything that we put in the downloadable section is a highly curated um, setup. When you download a pack, you get all the graphics, all sized the way that they need to be. You get the content, you get hashtags, and it's a guide, the PDF guide that comes with the download that tells you exactly what to do. Conversely, download a blog for your website out of the blog pack, and you get everything. It tells you exactly what to do for SEO and how to make that optimized for SEO so it helps your website index. So we're there, and you can always call us. We're willing to have a conversation with you to help you get jump started and be there as a little bit of our level of tech support, kind of giving you some guidance on tools to use or tips and tricks along the way on how to measure what you're doing and how to do it. So we encourage you to go out and check that out. If you're, a smaller MSP, that's usually geared for probably the owner-led to maybe 3 to 5 employees. When you get a little bigger than that, you're pushing out a little bit more. You need the resources, and you need somebody to just do it. And that's where our done for you happens at where we come out, we sell a full stack of services. You do a monthly price, and if it touches your brand, we take care of it. From the labor and the branding and the content and the website, it's all inclusive. So you don't have hosting over here and another tool set over here. We include it all in the plan. So you just, it's all inclusive. You're not getting nickel and dime. Obviously, if you want to do postcards, the printing of the postcards and postage
Yeah.
or things that are outside of, but that's really it. It's very easy, and we have an average tenure. We just, finished another growth year at about 32%, over the
Nice.
year before, which was 36%. So we didn't get
Nice.
as high as we went the year before, but this year I have high hopes. We're going to blow it through the roof this year.
Yeah.
But the fact is that our churn rate as a partner for the done for you side right now is 6.78 years our customers stay with us, which is absolutely unheard
Wow.
of in the marketing space for MSPs. Typically, an
Yeah.
MSP is 6 months to a year, and they've moved on to the next vendor,
Right.
next marketing firm. So um, that says something. We don't look to take on every customer. We want to make sure you're a good fit, and that's why we've developed a solution set for you to start if you're not there, and still be able to reach out and say, "Can I ask you a question?" and not get charged for it, and then grow up where you could go into, your own marketing team, or a done for you product like we have available.
Nice. We do have the marketvault.com URL scrolling across. Also gonna have go across here the Everything MSP link to your business showcase profile. If you go to everythingmsp.com and search for Equilibrium, you will be able to get directly to their business profile page. You can learn a little bit more about them. You can also schedule time directly with Pete that way as well, and access to their website and phone number. So we have everything right there. But that's great information. I love the growth that you guys have had. It's a great testament.
Yeah,
it's
been pretty good. I believe we also have, and we'll make sure it's posted in our Everything MSP profile, a promo code for you guys that if you come in and you start your subscription, we'll give you a percentage off. I think it's 25% off.
Nice.
I think we extended that from last year for you guys. I'm checking that right now as we're chatting. So
yeah, we'll make sure, if you don't have it yet, we'll make sure it's on the deals page as well, and we will get that posted out there. And that's a very kind and generous offer. Thank you for adding that for our community.
Absolutely. Let's see. I think I'm going to have to get back and add that in on nope, here it is. MSP EV 324.
Excellent. MSP EV 324.
That gets everybody 25% off their subscription.
Excellent.
First month. So.
Well, Pete, I want to thank you for your time and knowledge. Greatly appreciate our conversation. Always enjoy our discussions. Any parting words as we wrap things up here?
Yes. Stop talking about it and get out and do it.
There you go. Do it.
Just start. Just start. Even if you're just posting a little bit for yourself on LinkedIn, just get started, right? Find where your potential clients are going to be, and that's where you should be, right? So get started.
Just like in the gym, one push-up at a time, right? Then two, then three, then four, and then it becomes habit. So
yep.
That is
finally
awesome.
able to do 5 again. No.
There you go.
It was a long road to get back to 5. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Pete. I appreciate everybody listening to us. Until next time, we will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Stack.